You're watching CNBC TV 18.
The 7,000 crore rupee Punj Lloyd Group is an international conglomerate with core operations in the EPC segment. Though it was set up in 1989, Punj Lloyd forayed into the defence segment almost a decade later, and it was only in 2012 that its first defence manufacturing facility was set up. So on this week's edition of Make in India, New Deal for Defence, we look at the capabilities that Punj Lloyd is building for the defence sector. CNBC TV 18 Sajit Manga travels to Malanpur near Gwalior to capture the Punj Lloyd story.
Defence may not be big on the balance sheet of Punj Lloyd, but it's certainly big on the mind space of the Punj Lloyd management. In 2006, when the defence sector was opened up for private sector participation, Punj engaged McKinsey & Company to chart out its foray into the segment.
In 2006, the group decided we needed to diversify. And we said, how do we diversify? So we got McKinsey in, and McKinsey did a study for us and said defence would be the area which, it's opening up, and a company like us, which has been there for 25 years, would be the right fit to get into defence. So that's how we started into defence.
But how does an EPC contractor foray into the defence sector with practically zero experience? Well, Punj Lloyd tied up with German defence major Rheinmetall Air Defence and Singapore-based Singapore Technologies Kinetics. All was looking well till both Rheinmetall and Singapore Technologies Kinetics were blacklisted by the Ministry of Defence. But that did not deter the Gurgaon-based company, and it stayed engaged in the defence sector by focusing on building capabilities. The company started work on a dedicated defence facility just outside Gwalior at the Malanpur industrial belt in 2007.
Punj Lloyd began its foray into defence in 2007. By 2012, it had its first facility in Malanpur to cater to the air defence and artillery segment.
As per records available with the DIPP, Punj Lloyd holds 6 defence licenses spread across a wide spectrum of utilities and services, which include small arms, air defence, missiles, naval vessels, torpedoes, artillery guns and aviation. It has recently applied for the extension of its small arms license to enter this market. Aiming to graduate from a supplier of parts to being a systems integrator and a Tier 1 supplier, Punj has structured its defence operations into 4 segments: land systems, aerospace, small arms and homeland security.
Punj Lloyd decided to get into land systems. In land systems, air defence and artillery. Then aviation. In aviation, we decided to have the full gamut: engineering, manufacturing and MRO. Then small arms, so starting from component manufacturing to getting into full. And then homeland securities, where we are doing full body truck scanners and container scanners.
Defence licenses are scattered under different arms of the company, and Punj Lloyd is looking to consolidate its operations under one holding company called Punj Lloyd Industries.
To give it focus, we are bringing it under Punj Lloyd Industries Limited. It will be a subsidiary of Punj Lloyd Limited, and it will have all the businesses of defence put together there. So this will give us that required focus which it requires to grow it.
Punj Lloyd made inroads into air defence and the artillery segment at the start of its journey. Its initial plans to participate in the ultralight howitzer program hit a hurdle after its foreign partner, Singapore Technologies Kinetics, was blacklisted by the defence establishment. But that did not stop the company from investing and participating in the air defence upgrade program. Punj Lloyd is a frontrunner along with PSU Bharat Electronics Limited for upgrading the made-in-Russia anti-aircraft gun Zu-23. The solution provided by Punj has qualified the technical rounds and awaits commercial negotiation. The 23mm Soviet-era anti-aircraft gun has been transformed into an electronic gun with night vision sight and electronics that locks, tracks and fires at hostile aircraft automatically.
It will be approximately 100 million. It's 468 guns which needs to be upgraded. They are basically a mechanical gun which needs to be upgraded to a totally electronic gun which becomes automated, and that's what we are looking at.
While Punj is betting on the Zu-23 upgrade, it's also participating in other upgrade programs, including that of the L-70 air defence program. Punj has already crossed the expression of interest stage and is awaiting the request for proposal for this program. The company has presented the concept of gun missile systems, which is under technical evaluation with the defence forces and will allow the forces to engage multiple targets simultaneously.
We've had a product called gun missile system where we've already fielded the tech for MOD technical evaluation, and the technical evaluation is going on.
Punj Lloyd is also betting big on the artillery segment. It has evoked interest in upgrading the outdated 130mm howitzer. In this program, Punj has proposed to provide technology upgrades like muzzle. It hopes to field the upgraded solution for this gun this year, and the army needs nearly 300 such guns, even though experts believe that the defence forces should go for new howitzer systems altogether.
Punj Lloyd is actively participating in the upgrade of 130mm howitzer. It plans to upgrade this gun into 155mm.
If you look at the gun, the barrel needs to be changed, which is the main barrel, because it will become a 155-45 barrel. Then the muzzle brake needs to be changed, the beach mechanism has to be changed, the recoil systems have to be changed, the loading mechanism has to be changed. So it basically goes through an overall totally to become a 155-45 gun.
Besides these projects, it's actively participating in providing upgraded components of the artillery segment. It's participating in the upgrade of Dhanush. It was amongst the few private sector players to supply maximum number of components for the Dhanush. Punj is working on bidding for the mounted gun system program, which will require the company to build a 155mm gun. It's also partnering with the DRDO for the advanced towed artillery gun.
This was one of the programs we got in, but we started working on component manufacturing. So we worked with Gun Carriage Factory for the Dhanush upgrade. So maximum number of parts which were given to private sector to be made locally, we were the people who came in and made it. There's a loading device which we are making, and there are a lot of other critical components which we are making for them. Along with that, a new DRDO is developing an advanced towed gun system, ATGS as they call it. We are making a critical component for that too.
While BAE Systems backed the contract for the 155mm light howitzer by fielding its M777 gun, it's looking for Indian partners to manufacture in India, and Punj maintains that it is open to partnering with the British gun maker. Punj is also eyeing the futuristic infantry combat vehicle and is one of the recipients of the expression of interest along with other companies.
There will be core products which we have, which is like an air defense gun and the turret, which we own, which we will anyway be fielding. So that clearly goes into it. Then there are a lot of obviously requirements for it. We have partners where we will be partnering to field our products there. It will be a consortium. We will be the priming it, but we will have partners along with us, global partners, Indian partners, who will field their products to give this.
Punj Lloyd has been a recent entrant into the aerospace segment, and within the last 3 years, it boasts of marquee clients like HAL and Airbus.
Punj Lloyd is betting big on aerospace. It has started with projects to manufacture components for Sukhoi 30 and advanced light helicopters. It hopes to make a mark in the aerostructure industry in the next 5 years.
Punj began its engagement with aerospace when it converted part of the Malanpur facility for aerostructure parts. It started with an engagement with Hindustan Aeronautics by supplying components for the advanced fighter, the Sukhoi 30. It builds upper and lower fuel tank panels for the fighter jet. Not just that, it also manufactures outer engine casing for combustion chamber of the Sukhoi 30. This engagement has today extended to providing gearbox casing for the advanced light helicopter being built by HAL. Punj is also manufacturing the fixtures for the Tejas advanced light combat aircraft, which will be used by HAL to manufacture the Tejas aircraft.
We took the upper and lower tank panel for Sukhoi, which we are doing, and we have already supplied to them. The engine component, the combustion chamber outer casing, is something which we have made and we have supplied. We are manufacturing for the advanced light helicopter. The main gearbox is something which we are developing now. For the Tejas, we are making the fixture for the fuselage. The whole fixture where the fuselage will eventually be made and structured, we are making that right now.
Punj has ensured that it has the design capability for the aerostructure space. It's formed a joint venture, Aero-Euro, with French company GECI to design parts. This joint venture, based out of Bengaluru, has already worked with Airbus.
We did a joint venture with a French company for our engineering capability, because that's something which we needed to build. So we did a joint venture and got engineering capability, who have already worked with Airbus, and the joint venture's done work for stress relieving and other stuff for Airbus and their own aircraft.
But Punj is working towards a grander plan and wants to ensure it has the capability from design to manufacturing aerostructure parts and to undertake MRO activities. It has taken a strategic stake in private sector MRO ever.
It's a strategic in nature. It's approximately 17% stake which we have. But all the, more than the stake, all the defense MRO work which comes through Punj Lloyd. So we are the ones who hold the licenses, and we work with Airworks to deliver it.
Punj has recently taken the decision to revive its small arms license. It's currently awaiting approval from the Ministry of Home Affairs. It hopes to begin with manufacturing small arms components at Malanpur and then move to a full-fledged assembly of revolvers and automatic machine guns. It hopes to start manufacturing small arms by next March.
We have formed a company called Punj Raksha. We have already applied for the small arms license there, and we want to start small arms business. As I said, that's the second phase. From now on, we want to make components as well as make finished product eventually.
Final segment for Punj is the homeland security space. It is the only Indian player to bid against foreign companies for full body truck scanners and container scanners. It's already tied up with foreign partners for technology. The tender seeks to buy up to 5 full-body scanners and 3 container scanners, and this order could further be upgraded to 300 in the future.
We are the only Indian player who is bidding and wants to absorb the technology here and manufacture container scanners or full-body truck scanners in India. Eventually, first we'll start with supplying for the tender. There are 2 tenders. One is for container scanners, one is for full-body truck scanners. So we'll be supplying that with a partner. Then eventually we will go, as it grows, the business grows, we will assemble and put it together here and then supply.
Unlike some of its peers, Punj is also focusing on the offset market. It is the offset partner for Italian shipping company Fincantieri for providing shipping components and with Saab for providing radar masts.
We are also working with OEMs, either be it their offsets or developing products for them. We have developed a product for Saab, which was a critical component which they wanted to engineer here and manufacture and export from here, which we have done. It's under testing, and we are in talks with increasing that business.
Punj Lloyd has so far invested nearly 200 crores in the first phase of the Malanpur expansion. It now plans to invest another 50 to 60 crore rupees to set up the assembly, fabrication facilities and small arms component facility. It hopes to double the order book in defense to 110 million by the end of the year and $1 to $2 billion by 2020.
Notwithstanding the challenges it's facing in its core business, Punj is committed to invest further in the defense sector. It's targeting an order book of $1 billion over the next 5 years and hopes air defense and artillery will be core drivers for the company while it builds scale in the aerostructure space. Coming up after the break on Make in India New Deal for Defence, Rituparna Bhuyan speaks with Atul Punj, the chairman of the Punj Group, on the challenges faced by the group. Welcome back. You're watching Make in India New Deal for Defence, and we're looking at the story of Punj Lloyd. Now, despite being relatively new to the defence manufacturing segment, the company harbours big ambitions. It's eyeing over $1 billion in order book by 2020. Rituparna Bhuyan met up with the chairman of the group, Atul Punj, and here's a slice of that conversation and his vision for the defence sector.
Thank you so much. The Punj Lloyd Group has got a diversified portfolio, be it infrastructure, be it utilities, be it energy, and now the company wants to have a greater role in the defense sector as well. And to talk about the company's growth plans, we have with us the chairman of the group, Mr. Atul Punj. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Pleasure.
Let me start out with what the kind of plans that you have regarding defense. Of course, Punj Lloyd has been part of the supply chain as far as the defense sector is concerned, but now it seems that you are now getting ready to be a whole-time systems integrator, graduating to be a whole-time systems integrator in the defense sector. What are the plans as far as the defense sector is concerned, and what kind of strategy do you have to have a greater role in the defense sector?
Well, firstly, at the outset, it's not a new initiative for us. This is an initiative that has been in the works now for almost 5 years. We had actually were one of the first people to get our licenses when the government of India opened up the sector for private participation. We invested about 150 crores in a state-of-the-art facility in Malanpur, which you're familiar with.
Can you give us an idea about the kind of investments that have already been made in the defense space and the kind of plans regarding investments that you have going forward in the defense sector?
Well, I think what we've done is made the core investment already in the core facility, which is to the tune of about between 180 to 200 crores, depending on which way one looks at it. So the core investment is already in place. The rest, any new investments will be made on the back of project wins.
You also have some industrial licenses regarding the defense aerospace segment, if I'm correct. So what kind of plans do you have as far as the defense aerospace segment is concerned?
Well, that is, it's an evolving space. You know, we can have plans, but if there is not enough, there are no bids coming out for us to participate in. So as and when the opportunities arise, at least we have our licensing in place, so we don't need to go through that process to be able to participate in a program, and we'll take that call as and when the bids come out.
Right. 155 mm, 52 cal. That is one area. That's a howitzer, which there's a huge requirement in different formats for the Indian Army. BAE Systems has one kind of contract regarding the supply of its M777 howitzer. It is again looking at Indian partners. Will Punj Lloyd be open to partnering with overseas companies in defense programs like the M777? Are you in talks with anyone?
Well, see, as I mentioned earlier, that we have a core capability which will be relevant to many different programs for many OEMs. As I said, in some cases, we would want to be the OEM ourselves. In other cases, we are happy to be tier 2 or even tier 3 partners. So we are in dialogue with almost every major international company that is looking to supply into India, including BAE. So we have been having interactions with many people. As you know, that there has been a large interest suddenly from corporate India. So it is almost like the gold rush in the old days. But that I find in India happens almost every time a new sector opens up.
We have seen in the past, at least the past 1 year, that the policy space regarding defense is changing very fast. A lot of policies have been made, be it FDI, be it regarding industrial licensing, and a lot of policies are going to come in the next perhaps a month or so. Let me start with one issue regarding policy, and this is relevant to Punj Lloyd as well, and this is regarding blacklisting. There were instances in the past where some of your former partners got blacklisted, be it Rheinmetall, be it STL. The reason I'm asking you this question is, does blacklisting of companies in defense sector help? Does it not actually compromise our strategic needs? What is your opinion on this sensitive issue?
Well, to the last part of your question, yes, of course, when you blacklist, sometimes all companies that can potentially supply a program that India needs are blacklisted, then obviously it impacts your strategic positioning. It does compromise your defense preparedness. Also, a lot of this blacklisting happens on allegations, pending inquiry.
Right.
So I think the key is to blacklist a company when they've been found to have done something wrong. You know, not be judge, jury, and executioner before the fact. It is important to do that after the fact, so people don't follow an unethical practice going forward.
Now let's talk about the foreign investment policy regarding defense. 49% is allowed, you can go up to 100%. But given the current contours of the policy, do you believe that foreign players will be interested in having an Indian partner with ownership? Will technology transfer happen given the current FDI regime?
I believe it will. I think we are shooting ourselves in the foot if we try to start insisting on a 75% or 100%. If you look at sector by sector in India, very often you start off with a 26%, then they move to a 49, then they move to a 51, then they've gone up to 74. So I don't think we should really be trying to jump the gun and ask for an ideal space. Frankly, I think currently the situation we're in is a very good place for us to be in. I think there's a fairly good opportunity for companies to come into the country. And I believe that if the Indian companies are up to the task of really putting their best foot forward, there will be no problem in finding genuine capacity addition in India. And as the opportunity in the market grows, foreign companies will be more inclined to invest, and of course then the presentation will be made to the government and a case be made out to allow 51 or more.
Let me get your comments on one more policy intervention that happened recently, and that is regarding the composite cap. Government went for a composite cap regarding FDI. But as far as defense sector is concerned, the FII cap has been capped, has been set at 24%. They had not made any change. How do you see this policy decision?
That's fine. I think, as I said earlier, let's not try to, shoot ourselves or try to aim too high right now. And many countries in the world have FDI and FII caps on their defense sector, telecom sector, which are much more stringent than what India has. I think we've got a good place to start. The opportunities are coming up thick and fast. Let's see as to what the success rate of Indian companies or Indian partnerships is in that space, and we can then look at that issue again.
What about the export defense export policy? Because that will be crucial for SMEs and MSMEs. Is the current export policy conducive enough for the Indian industry as far as the defense sector is concerned?
I believe that there is a relook being done on that policy, where the policy actually is being framed. Right now, I don't think there's an export policy as far as defense is concerned. So there's a list of positive countries that's being made out where the Indian defense products can be exported. And once we have more clarity on that, which hopefully should be in the next month or so, it'll be much more clear.
Right. My last question regarding the defense policy. The DPP, the defense procurement policy, is up for an upgrade. Going by your experience in the defense sector, what are the top 3 recommendations or top 3 changes that you would like to see in the defense procurement policy?
Well, I think anybody in this sector would be interested in seeing how the process can be expedited. Because this time period that currently historically has been between 3 and 7 years to take a decision, and in some cases after 5 years the program is cancelled because technology has moved on. If that period can be cut short as part of the policy, the process in the policy, would be a huge difference.
One another issue which many analysts, and this is one issue which many analysts are watching regarding Punj Lloyd, and that is regarding the liquidity position. Can you tell us something about that? Because many believe that as far as Punj Lloyd is concerned, the liquidity position, it's a bit stressed. So if you can just tell us about what kind of strategy do you have to deal with this?
I think liquidity again is an industry-wide phenomenon. It is not only focused on Punj Lloyd. As far as we are concerned, we've gone for a corrective action plan to the banks, which was actually agreed in principle last October. Given the process time that it took, it was finally signed off, if I'm not wrong, on the 25th of June. So the corrective action plan is in place, where additional facilities, liquidity, etc. becomes available to us. So we now have a breather, and coupled with the new wins that we're having, I think the cash flow momentum will pick up again.
Atul Punj, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us at CNBC TV 18.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that was Atul Punj outlining the company's ambitions in the defense space. He certainly hopes that it will be one of the key players in air defense and the artillery segment in the coming years. And with many programs coming up, it could be a reality. We will meet you again next week with another company. Till then, from all of us here on the Make in India team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.